Hi, we're Carl and Wendy. We're Vancouver-based working professionals that decided that we'd like to be weekend warriors and do it a little bit differently. So we moved into a 2003 Mercedes Sprinter, a T1N model. There are 300 watts of solar on the roof, flexible panels, and they're hooked up to the battery bank on the inside.
280 amp hours of AGM battery on the inside, which the solar power has so far kept pretty well charged, but we do have the alternator hooked up to the battery bank on the inside as well, so that really tops us up.
The nice thing about this van is that almost everything is secondhand, so even the previous builder, we got this partially built off of Craigslist, and even he used a lot of reclaimed and secondhand materials. So it fits our lifestyle, which is trying to be zero waste.
The paneling on the roof, which we converted from the original fabric paneling to install some nice white clean paneling up there, and wood trim. We've added in, a lot of the simpler elements like shelving. We also added access via this hatch here to the area at the back. So you can see we've got accessible material here, so pantry, backpacks, everything like that. All the sporting goods and equipment like that, jackets, shoes, that can be easily accessed from the back. So the kitchen setup came with this little bar sink already installed, as well as a water pump. So underneath here, I'll open this up for you, and we've got 2 tanks, so a clean freshwater tank and a gray water tank in behind it, and the pump just pulls fresh water. We refill those about every 4 days or so. We're trying to stay mostly electric with this van, so we don't actually have any propane except for our very temporary propane heater. The original owner had a propane shower out the back door, but he was planning on going to Mexico more of the time, so it's more of a hot weather van in that sense. So I told him he could keep the propane shower because we're planning on going Alaska, northern BC, just all over in the winter. So hidden under this bench here, which comfortably seats a few people, we've got an 80-liter Waco chest fridge. So it's got a freezer component on this side and then the main fridge component on the other side. That's powered by our 3 AGM batteries in the back, and runs at a very low power.
And then when we do need to cook, which we do at least once a day, especially for breakfast, we pull out our induction cooktop. So it's a 1 burner.
Plugs into our 120 volt outlets, and bada bing, bada boom. Our trusty Instapot, which again, we've had a lot of success with in this electric focused build, so that we can have some rice going in there, or some stew and soups, curries, and it uses a lot of draw to begin with to get up to pressure, and then as soon as it's up to pressure, it can sit there for a very long time, and just slowly tap a little bit more to keep going for 20-40 minutes, what have you.
So initially we're quite concerned about power draw from that. It's the normal 6-quart size rather than the mini that lots of people have, but powered with driving and the sun that we have been getting in Vancouver in the winter, which, if you know, Vancouver is not very much, we have been able to power these 2 appliances quite well.
One other thing about the kitchen, I think that we're going to be adding to in the future is we're going to have a table here that folds out from this side. So we've already bought a bracket for this side of the cabinet and some countertop material, and we'll have something that flips up here so that when somebody's sitting in the passenger seat, where Wendy is, then they can have a tabletop as well, or you can have a prep surface or something like that.
In terms of pantry and that kind of thing, all our spices are up there, and most of our pantry is under that cubby. We have a lot of glassware and jars and that kind of thing because we buy everything in bulk, and so far none of it has broken, so yeah, it's great.
It's going well.
Lots of people say you can't do zero waste in a van, but right now it's been okay.
We moved into this van from an apartment that was about 370 square feet, so quite small by most people's standards already. So we didn't have a lot of stuff, and we only had what we need, and even then we were still surprised at like how much we needed to get rid of to get into a van space.
Well, that was one of the reasons we moved into the van, was to keep challenging ourselves to live with only what was essential, while still having really full lives. So the coldest we've stayed in so far is -20 Celsius, and it was totally fine. Currently we don't have a thermostat in here, but we just bought a diesel heater that we're going to install in the next couple of weeks. We have this temporary little guy, I think it's the Mini. So we have this blind that just goes all the way down. I bartered for it. And so that separates the cab from the rest of the living space, which helps a lot because the cab is not insulated whatsoever. The other thing we do is we cover these windows and the back windows over with Reflectix.
For lighting, everything's wired into the batteries, obviously. We've got this panel here, which controls all of our different systems. We've got the master kill switch, which on setting 1 just starts everything up connected.
That's connected to the leisure batteries?
To the leisure batteries, and 1+2 connects the leisure batteries to the front battery. We have these very offensive dome lights currently.
I will put them on right now.
Which are as bright white as you could possibly get, I think. So we have found there's a film that you can get that dampens those down to a nice candle kind of light. So we've got the back of our space. Because we've lifted the bed nice and high, we've got quite a lot of space, enough room under here to put a folding electric bicycle, as well as these nice wicker chests for all our jackets, filming equipment, everything like that we don't need access to a whole lot.
I think it all started when I found minimalism, and I just really liked the idea of living with the right amount of things, and not letting your stuff control your life, and also trying to curate your life to be the best life possible. So if you're unhappy with the situation, you either change the situation or change how you feel. But for us, it was kind of just, we were never unhappy. We're actually pretty positive people. I guess you have to be to live in a van. But it was, even though we liked the apartment life, we wanted to see if we could do something different to make our life a little bit even more curated, to be able to travel more, and to enjoy the freedom that being in a vehicle brings. Almost every weekend since we have moved in here, we've gone away for little weekend trips, and that's really added a richness to our life that I don't think we could do as comfortably otherwise. We're not doing the typical van lifer lifestyle where we've left our jobs and we're pursuing a more nomadic career. We still live in Vancouver on the weekdays. We have pretty typical jobs. Carl's a manager, I'm a speech language pathologist. We work office jobs, but we like to go away on the weekends. So we really like that balance of stability and freedom. Yeah, it's a good balanced lifestyle for us. What minimalism means to me is it's having the amount of stuff where I feel that I'm not tied down by it. When I lived in an apartment before the really tiny one, we had a more normal sized apartment, and I started getting to that feeling of I just want to be able to pack everything I own into 2 suitcases and move off. And the fact that I couldn't do that made me feel very weighed down, like I didn't have the freedom to up and go if I wanted to. I guess the mental and psychological aspect of minimalism as well, as if my things are all things I love and value, then my experiences need to be that as well. And what I am putting my time into has to be what I value. The overall goal is balance, having a really fulfilled life where, when I'm on my deathbed one day, I can think back and think, oh, I'm really glad I did this, I'm really glad I did this, and that was a wonderful part of my life, rather than I wish I had done that. Relationship between minimalism and van life is that minimalism is always easier when there's some sort of boundary that you place that you can kind of fit yourself into. But one of the biggest challenges for me is just the stigma around van life still. I haven't told my coworkers. I don't know if I ever will, just because I'm a working professional, and at the moment, working professionals don't live in vans. That's the perception. If you live in a van, you're a certain type of person. Nothing wrong with that type of person in my mind, but maybe my clients wouldn't want that type of person working with their children, which is what I do.
I thought that living in a van as well would be a challenge for space, a challenge for our relationship, but it really hasn't. I'm 6'4", and I can almost stand up in this van.
You can demonstrate.
We may get a van where I can actually fully stand up in, but at the moment, this was the one that we got, so this is what we're sticking with. But it hasn't been a problem at all. Buying a van and living in a van is not so that you can spend all your time in the van. It's so that you can use the van as a tool to get where you want to go, and get out there. Go outside and do things. That's one of the mottos that we live by. The kind of person who wants to go on an adventure, like this is a great adventure to go on. You can find a way to do it, and I would really support anybody to try it.
So my personal philosophy on life is borrowed from a quote from the Minimalists, which is a duo of guys that popularized minimalism. I would say they were one of the grandfathers of modern minimalism. Money is a renewable resource and time is not. So everything I do in life, I think, is just to maximize the amount of time I spend on things I love doing. And it's because time is limited.
My personal philosophy is just around happiness and finding what it is that makes you happy, and getting rid of those things that aren't leading you towards that happiness. Happiness isn't something that you buy in the convenience store. It's something that you have to work on constantly because you're changing as a person, and so your happiness is changing as well. And there's so many different paths to go down that they need to be explored to find what it is that really makes you happy.
I am on Instagram as wendy.wanders, and really that's it.
That's where to find us.
For now.
Yes.